Ceado is a company that has built themselves a reputation over the years for producing superior quality grinders. Now, in 2023, they're throwing their hats into the ring of manual coffee brewing with a new, award-winning, made-in-Italy coffee brewer. Hi there, Brian here with Whole Latte Love. The Hoop Coffee Brew from Ceado is an innovative new Radial Infusion brewer that simplifies the art of the manually brewed cup of coffee. So innovative, in fact, that it won a Best New Product Award at the 2023 World of Coffee Expo in Athens, Greece. All it takes for a delicious cup of fresh coffee is to assemble the two pieces and filter, add ground coffee and hot water, and the Hoop does the rest. In this video, I'll discuss the differences between brewing with the Hoop and standard pour-over brewing. I'll go over the specifications of the Hoop. I'll show you step-by-step instructions on how to brew using the Hoop and cover a couple tips and tricks you can use to experiment, and I'll finish up with some final thoughts. So what does it mean to be a radial infusion brewer, and how much does that differ from standard pour-over methods? With the Hoop, the 12 holes in the filter tower disperse the water across the top of the coffee bed at a constant and controlled rate for a more even extraction than pouring directly onto the bed of grounds, and you don't even need a gooseneck kettle to be able to do it. That means that all the hot water used to brew passes through the entire bed of ground coffee before reaching the filter, minimizing bypass. With most pour-over brewing methods, there are small areas along the outside of the filters where water can make it around the grounds, bypassing part of the coffee bed, thus lowering the overall extraction. A side-by-side comparison of brewing our Whole Latte Love single-origin Ethiopian limu using the same recipe and grind size helped to compare extractions between the Hoop and the V60. With a 1:15 coffee-to-water ratio using a 17-gram dose, the extraction yield of the V60 was right at 17%, with the Hoop at 18.8. The clearest proof of the increased bypass of the V60 was in the water retained by the coffee, with the Hoop seeing a total absorption of around 50 grams and the V60 only retaining 36 grams. Once again, since the same dose and grind size was used for each brew, the lower amount of water retained in the V60 shows that much water bypassed at least part of the bed of ground coffee. Furthermore, this side-by-side comparison really highlights how much easier it is to brew with the Hoop. When it comes to consistently making great coffee, repeatability is key, and the Hoop makes it just about as easy as possible. Right out of the box, the Hoop consists of two main components, the filter tower and the water crown. When fully assembled, the Hoop sits a little over 3 inches tall with about a 5-inch diameter. The base of the Hoop has a diameter of 2.7 inches and will sit flush on top of any vessel with a top diameter between 3 and 4 inches. This is important to note because if you are currently using a standard V60 for manual brews, the base of the Hoop is marginally larger and will not fit on top of all the same carafes. Also, a clearance of 1/2 inch from the top of the mug to the handle is necessary when placing the Hoop on top of a handled carafe or mug. The Hoop comes pre-packaged with 100 paper filters, which are right at about 2.5 inches in diameter, approximately the same size as an AeroPress filter, and a little thinner. The Hoop is made in Venice, Italy, and is composed of durable BPA-free plastic, which not only makes it easy to hand clean, but also dishwasher safe. To assemble for brewing, add a paper filter to the water crown and then screw in the filter holder. I like to flip it over and tap the filter to check the tension. Should feel almost like a little drum. Pre-wet the filter paper to clean it off, removing any papery tastes it might add to your final brew. Add the ground coffee to the filter tower and give it a quick shake to level the bed. The Hoop can handle up to 20 grams of ground coffee per brew, and the recommended grind size is a little coarser than espresso, a little finer than drip. Something similar to what you would use in a mocha pot, approximately 630 microns in average particle size, to get really technical. Finally, add filtered water right off a boil to the water crown and wait for it to finish draining down. In testing, a 1:15 coffee-to-water ratio provided the best results in the cup, with a total brew time somewhere between 4 and 5 minutes when using 17 grams of coffee and 255 grams of water. This recipe yielded extractions between 18 and 19% and produced very well-rounded cups. Once your brew is finished, cleaning up is just as simple as brewing. Just unscrew the filter tower over your trash can or compost bin, and the filter and the coffee grounds fall right out. At its base level, that's all you need to do to get a delicious cup of coffee, but the simplicity of brewing with the hoop promotes experimentation. The most obvious ways to modify your extractions are to change your grind size and or your brew ratios. Grinding finer or using less water will yield higher extractions, with the opposite being said for a coarser grind or using more water. Another way to manipulate your extraction yield is with agitation. Right after you finish adding the water, simply take a spoon and gently break the crust by stirring around the edge of the wall of the filter tower. In testing, adding just a 30-second stir to the brewing process boosted extraction yields almost 2%. If you allow your coffee to off-gas and bloom for a minute before agitating, extraction yields bumped up another 5% and dramatically lengthened the overall brew time. Using 2 paper filters instead of 1 is also an easy way to change extractions. In comparison to using a single filter, brewing with 2 filters also increased extraction yield by around 2%, again mostly due to the increased brew times. However, despite the longer brew times, coffees brewed with 2 filters were noticeably cleaner altogether with a lighter mouthfeel. Being that the paper filters for the hoop are almost exactly the same size as AeroPress filters, all the different types of AeroPress filters are also usable, from the standard paper to the E&B Labs metal filter screens. Since the paper AeroPress filters are slightly thicker than the hoop filters, expect your brews to slow down a little. The reusable E&B Labs metal filters provide noticeably less resistance than paper, so finding up your grind size is pretty much necessary. Any combination of these techniques can greatly change the end results of brewing with the hoop, but the possibilities don't just end there. If you have a hoop and have experimented with other techniques that work for you, let me and everyone else know down in the comments. The hoop was created for everyone to use it in their own way, and I think it's really exciting to see what people will come up with. The hoop is one of the easiest brewers I have used to manually make a cup of coffee, and the simplicity of it makes repeatability well within reach for any home brewer skill level. The only downside I've found strictly relates to my own personal habits and preferences. Due to its size, the hoop is designed for making at most around 1 cup of coffee at a time, and I personally always make between 2 and 4 cups of coffee every time I brew. While brewing a single cup at a time isn't going to be a deal breaker for a lot of people, and quite honestly seems ideal for a cafe environment, I think it would be great to see maybe a larger version of the hoop from Ceado in the future. In conclusion, the hoop makes brewing a great cup of coffee simple, and it's easy to see why it won a Best New Product award from the Specialty Coffee Association. The hoop comes in both black and a nice frosted clear color called Ghost, and I've put links to both versions down in the description. If you have any questions, use the comments and I'll get back with you. And if you want to stay on top of the latest and greatest in coffee, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Once again, I'm Brian, thanks for watching, and check back soon for more of the best on everything coffee. Brought to you by Whole Latte Love.